ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So we got rid of the hedgehog. You know,
Yeah.
he went back to live at the middle school where he lives during the school year. But then yesterday, my friend tried really hard to give me her pet rabbit.
Oh, no.
Because
Friends don't give friends pet rabbits.
Because her daughter's going to college and she's like, nobody wants this stupid rabbit. She's like, she's very sweet. I'm like, yeah, I have 2 dogs. And first of all, this rabbit is almost as big as my small dog.
Oh my gosh.
It's big. And yeah, you know, my son already is like, we totally need a rabbit. But I really can't imagine having the rabbit along with the 2 dogs. Like, it'll start looking like Nicole's house.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't want that, trust me.
No. Your dog. The fact that your dogs tolerated the hedgehog is amazing to me.
I know, and that's my son's argument.
Yes,
Like,
but
they
you
were
don't bring
fine.
prey into the house.
Exactly.
It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the prey. It's just,
Right.
It's a tense situation.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems like a really bad
Right,
idea. Though I
hear
sympathize with the friend. I understand why. The college dorm won't take the rabbit. I think we just
so.
stick the rabbit in the kids' dorm room and haul out to, get out of there fast.
Right.
And then it's the college's problem.
Make a run for it.
Because what can you do with it's like with a dog, you could sadly take it to the shelter or something like that. What do you do with an unwanted rabbit?
Give it to a school?
Oh, there you go.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Well, and you can. I mean, I think she'll try to find someone she knows or a friend of a friend
Some
or
sucker
whatever.
will take this thing.
But I think you could take it to a shelter.
Can you take a rabbit to a shelter?
I
I've seen
think
cats
so.
and dogs at shelters. I haven't seen
I
bunnies.
think they'll probably take anything rather than,
Yeah.
they don't want
I
you
guess
to
so.
just let it loose outside.
But then you have like a bunny staying in a place that has like 20 restless and bored dogs. That seems like a bad combination. Are the dogs, if you're a bunny and you hear dogs barking all
Right.
night,
Stress.
are you not just going to have a nervous
Well,
breakdown? It doesn't seem like a healthy
I'll
environment for
just
the
tell
bunny.
her that Nicole operates a shelter for wayward
Yeah,
pets.
pretty much.
All
just
she has to do
bring
is
your
get it to
pet
Los
by.
Angeles, right?
Yeah. Just,
Ship
we're the
that
drop
bunny
off.
out.
We're the drop off
Yeah.
for old pets and used pets and pets that need rehoming.
Well, see, Catherine, maybe this is your next business. You could just charge a boarding fee, You could, do you have an area in the backyard where you could just set up some cages?
But when it's 10 below 0, that bunny's gonna be a bunny
that's true.
popsicle.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Well, there was a time that I would have said my dog would object strenuously to having any prey in the house. But lately, we've been having sort of a weird thing with the dog. She's getting up there in age. So it may just be an age thing. It may be a change of weather thing. It may be a change of family routine thing. It may be that she was laying in a dark hallway and somebody stepped on her, and so she has a painful appendage thing. But she's just kind of lost a lot of her spunk over the past month or so, and we don't quite know what to do with it. Because it's like, on the one hand, she's definitely not herself, so we feel like we should take her to the vet. On the other hand, this is manifested in her not barking all the time and in her not chasing every dog she sees when we take her for a walk. And those are things we would kind of like to hang on to. So
Exactly.
it's like an animal is not itself. It's a much easier to handle animal, and you feel like,
Right,
is this
it's
a
a
bad
better
thing or a good
version.
thing? Yeah, I'm not sure. Could we make sure she's feeling okay, but still leave the bad habits off? So, and it's been going back and forth. I mean, for a while she wasn't eating, and then we made some changes. We started adding some people food to her food, and now she's eating. For a while she was having trouble getting up and down the stairs, and now she's getting up and down the stairs. But she still just kind of lays around looking sad all the time. So I don't know, I feel like we should take her to the vet, and yet I know that taking her to the vet is kind of a significant expense, and that if there is something wrong with her, it will be lots of expensive things that we're probably not going to want to do. So do we just keep her comfortable, or do we take her and see what happens? It's like every day I think, well, if she's, if she gets worse, then we'll do something, but she doesn't really get worse. She either stays the same or seems a little better. I don't know. What is your threshold for taking an animal into the vet? Has any changed? Do you do it? I don't want to feel like a terrible person, but at the same time, there's many days I just want to lay around the house and look sad. Right. And I probably don't need to go to the doctor. I'm just, 59 years old, and sometimes things hurt, and sometimes I'm just tired. So I don't know.
Can you call them? Call the vet and say, here's what's happening?
Yeah, I probably could. When she wasn't eating, I called the vet. Because first we had a problem where she was throwing up all the time. And then we started giving her pills again to make her not throw up. And then she wasn't eating. So I called the vet, and she suggested a different food and suggested some things we could do. And at first it didn't work. And then we started giving her a little oatmeal with her food. And now she eats it all up. And I give her a little yogurt at lunchtime, and she laps that all up. And we've stopped giving the pills, and she's not throwing up. So it's like there's been some good things and some bad things.
Right.
So I think if I called and said, describe these symptoms, she would say, well, why don't you bring her in and we'll check her over.
Right.
Which is probably what we should do. Yeah. But finding the time and dealing with the expense is, I don't know.
Yeah, and also, I don't know how she responds, but just riding in the car is so stressful for my one that, it makes everything worse if you put him in the car. Yeah. So. Actually, my friend with the bunny, she has a couple of dogs too, and the one dog has skin condition, and it kind of comes out if he's anxious. So she pays extra for a house call from the vet, because otherwise the dog gets so stressed, and then she has to treat his allergy, and she's like, it's more expensive to treat him than it is to have the house call. So
right.
Wow.
In the past, this dog gets very, very hyper at the vet and barks at everything, and I oftentimes have to just keep her outside for a while if there's another dog in the waiting room, because she'll go crazy. So now if we bring her in, she just sits very docilely in the corner. I'm going to feel really bad. Come on, bark at something. But it could just be, it could just be age.
Yeah.
It could just be, it was, for a while, it was extremely hot, and then after that, it was extremely rainy, so there was many, many days or weeks we weren't able to take her out for a walk. So it could be part of that, there could be, I can think of lots of different reasons, but then if it's something medical,
it's hard.
I'm making excuses because I'm cheap and lazy, basically. But at the same time,
but
I don't want to make a big thing out of something that's really not.
Right.
You could always take on a few more animals, and that might liven her up and give her something to chase around the house.
We're over capacity with one, so we already
seems to be the answer to all my solutions around here.
Yeah. So what do you got going on there? How are your critters doing? Your multiple critters.
Yeah.
Welcome and unwelcome.
Well, we're definitely getting used to them, and I have to admit, enjoying them. So, they keep us quite amused with their antics, particularly the two new cats that we have. And seems like every photo on my phone the last 2 months has been of these cats. I'm such a cat lady now, and I never thought I would be. So, they're just, I don't know, they just keep us quite entertained. So, yes, I have to say they've been a fun addition to the house. Although, it's just a few more warm bodies around here, so adds to the chaos sometimes. But yeah, don't let my son know, but we're actually enjoying them. So yeah, we don't want him to, the hope is he's going to head off to grad school soon, so we don't want him to think that we like him too much.
Yes, and we don't also want him to say, "Great, we can get more cats now,"
or leave them behind when he goes to school. Or
why don't you keep them? He's going to leave them behind. Yeah,
I could see that happening, Nicole.
He's softening you up.
I said to my husband the other day, somehow I don't think these cats are leaving
ever.
And the dog is cool with it?
Yeah, she's it's funny, she's curious, and one of them lets her go near him, and then if she gets a little bit too friendly, he'll swat at her.
Oh.
And then the other one won't let her come within like 10 feet of her. So she's hissing and, pretending to be all mean and scary. But she's a little nervous, that one. So she doesn't like Missy being around, but she generally hides. But the other one is very, very cash. She's very laid back. So they all manage, and then then the cats and the fish and interact, and it's just we have
many crews,
quite a zoo around here. No need to go to the zoo when you could come here. Anyway,
that's right.
Nicole's menagerie.
Yeah. So, shall we get started with our...
Right.
This has been Pet Roundabout.
Yeah. Well, hello and welcome everyone to the Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Nicole Eridix, and with me today are Terri Morrow.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hi.
And today on the podcast, we are going to talk about care packages on our speed round, shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup, and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, risky business, and not the movie.
I was listening to a book on Audible a while back, and one of the things that the writer asked was, would you rather your child be safe or strong? And this author's opinion, it was of course part of this talk that we see a lot of lately about parents these days coddling their kids too much, helicoptering their kids too much, never letting their kids out of the house, not letting their kids have experiences, wanting safety paramount above all things. And this author's opinion was that you have to let your kid take risks to make them a strong adult, and that if you don't do that, then you are impairing them for the future. And to some degree, I agree with that. I mean, I see the point. I do see the point. But at the same time, I mean, I'm parenting kids who are particularly vulnerable due to their disabilities. I've pushed them to do things, and sometimes it's worked out, and sometimes in retrospect, I think, what the heck was I thinking? That was too much. Why was I forcing them to do this thing? So, I do think it's important for the kids to take risks. And on the other hand, I am constantly afraid that something bad will happen, and then I will wonder why I ever did that thing or forced them to do that thing. Is it not possible for them to be both safe and strong? Can we where is the line of safe risk?
Right.
Or to give the kids the illusion. I mean, I always say that I like to have them take risks with a safety net underneath.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? So I thought that's something we could talk about. I mean, lately I've been, big on my kids getting jobs. I feel it's important for them to work. I feel it's important for them to have meaningful work, for them to be out in the community, for them to be, making money and having a purpose and a reason for getting up in the morning, just like everybody else. But at the same time, after I drop them off at the job, I am then a bundle of neuroses. What if people are picking on them? What if they're being taken advantage of? I would have no way of knowing. I have one kid who doesn't tell me things. So, I'm still, even now with young adults, I'm forcing them to take the risks, but then I'm really afraid of the consequences. Do you guys tie yourself into knots up like this too? Have you found a comfortable compromise between, risk and safety? Do you feel that a certain amount of risk is important to create strong healthy adults, or do you just think let's just wrap them in bubble wrap and keep them in the closet and, you know, just duck this whole question at all? Catherine, you have kids in sports, so there's always risk in that. You've sent your kid on a luge, so
Yes.
you've made some peace with risk, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge because they both do sports that are risky. You know, I mean, most sports have some degree of risk to them, but some are worse than others. And, you know, ice is a hard surface.
Yes.
So there's always a risk of injury. And especially after my daughter got one concussion, which did not happen on the ice, but, you know, it's really bad to get more than one concussion. You know, more than one is... it's just the risk increases exponentially every time you have one concussion. So putting her back out on the ice after that was very scary.
Yeah.
We did get her some, like, this protective headband. And that was one of those things, like, it was kind of the safety net, and it was almost more of a psychological safety net for both of us than it was. Yeah. You know, I spoke to the doctor about it, the sports medicine doctor, and I showed her this thing, and I was like, is this like a total waste of money, or should we do it?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and she said, you know, I was expecting her to be like, that's never going to do anything. But, but she said, no, you know, it could help. And also it will help her feel more protected. And then she will take the risks that she needs to take. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and you mentioned the luge, like, one of the big reasons I did that and allowed that was because the physical risk was countered by the sort of emotional benefit that he was going to get out of it. Mm-hmm. Because it was at a point where he was really not feeling confident about himself and his abilities and about, like, what made him special. And so being able to do something like that was valuable, you know, even if it was physically risky, and even if it involved, you know, financial costs and missing school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that you have to weigh, like, all the time. You know, now I have the driver, and that's scary, but obviously she needs, for me, I guess it's more about, not so much safe versus strong, but, it has a lot to do with independence.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of driving, obviously there are many risks, but there's also value in independence. Right. And problem solving kind of things that are involved with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think one of my things has been, I have at least one kid who doesn't want to be independent and who doesn't want to take risks and has always had anxiety about it. And I have pushed that child to do things in the feeling that you got to take chances. You got to do these things. You got to try things. You can't just stay in your room all day. Mm-hmm. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. And in some ways, it's paid off very, very well. But it's also paid off in, you know, significant problems with anxiety. So when is it the parent's choice? You know, is it okay if you have a kid who doesn't want to do things to just let them have their, you know, small little safe life? Or do you have to say, look, I know better than you. These things are important. And it's just with this one child been a real, you know, there's been pluses, but there have been significant minuses. And, you know, when you're the parent and you're the person making the decision, no, this is important for you to do, then it's all on you with the consequences, you know. So how about you, Nicole? Have you been dealing with this with your kids? How have you drawn that line?
Oh, it's such a big topic for me to grasp because I feel like most of their life has been about obviously, you know, they're trying new things and doing new things, but I think maybe it's there's a little bit more risk involved than, you know, for some kids, because having moved here, first of all, when they were at a very pivotal age one was in grade 1 and the other one was in grade 6.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge risk for our family, which involved them.
Yeah.
And then everything for them since has been a big, putting them out there in this new school and new culture and new, people and new school system and everything that they've tried. I mean, whether it's been from playing water polo that we're never familiar with water polo before, or just so many different aspects of being in a new country per se, where like my husband and I didn't even really know how things could go.
Right.
It was just because I think if you're a little bit more familiar with it, then you can weigh the risks appropriately.
Right.
But some situations, we didn't even know what the risks were, right? So it was like, okay, yeah, go try this. We think it'll be great. And then all of a sudden, do you know what I mean? Like there's all this stuff that we didn't think of.
Yeah.
So
and then
I feel like for the last, 9 or 10 years, we've been up against that. We've been going through the risks together with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the longer we've been here and the more familiar we're becoming and knowing how to access information and resources from our community, then it kind of helps us a little bit, weigh the risks a little bit more. But now, I'm at a different point in my life with them because one has left home and is, now he's back. And that's an entirely different topic altogether because you're not there to help them weigh the risks and what's good and bad, and you kind of just have to put them out there in the world and hope that they make the right decisions. And then my daughter is getting ready to apply to colleges, and so that in itself is another big concern because, okay, well, where does she want to go and how far away from home, and can she handle living in a dorm?
Right, this is the girl who won't go to camp and won't have sleepovers. Yeah.
Yeah, but now twice now in the last year she's been to Canada on her own.
Yeah.
And spent a significant amount of time away from us when she did that, and did it quite successfully and loved it. So, and I think I guess through it all, our kind of value or our wish for them when they were doing these things and trying new things was just to be able to give them the skills to live, in our environment, in our world, right? Like to give them the skills that they're going to need as they become adults and are adults. And that's kind of been our big motivator is like, will this help them become, a more confident adult or give them skills to interact with their world? Mm-hmm. Because I've seen the flip side of it too, where there are kids who are these are kids who don't have significant visible disabilities or any kind of, because you had talked about with your kids, Terri, that there were some things that you needed to think about and take into consideration when you were putting your kids out there. But, for these kids, I've seen them very sheltered, and I don't know if that's a good idea either.
Yeah. It's I know. I mean, even though I have reasons for possibly sheltering my kids, I don't think it's good for them. But it's like, it's finding the degree of acceptable risk. I mean, I've been accused of being too coddling, and I've been accused of not being coddling enough. And
that's how you know you're in the right spot.
Well, I'm always arguing on the other side of whatever people are saying. Right. If I'm doing too much, it's like, but I have my reasons. And if I'm not doing enough, it's like, well, but they need to learn these things. Constant turmoil.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Did you feel like you took more risks when you were a kid than your kids take now, or you were encouraged to more? Do you think it's changed and the parents today are different, or do you think it's just that the venues for people to criticize parents publicly have increased?
Well, I mean, we hear certainly all the time, and it was my experience too, that when we were kids, we were way more free range, just wandering the neighborhood for hours on end. And our kids don't really do that, although I feel like my town and my neighborhood are safe, and I allow my kids to, go to the pool by themselves, go to the library, go to a friend's house, whatever. But there's not that like gang of kids roaming the neighborhood thing going on that we had when we were kids.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like there was a much stronger network of parents watching out for kids back then. Everybody, I mean, we were free range roaming the neighborhood, but everybody's mother was home looking out the window. And you would go to people's houses and there would be a parent there. I don't think that kids today could necessarily do that.
I don't know. I felt like my families or my friends' parents were very hands off, and I don't know.
Yeah?
I didn't see them peeking out windows. And
really?
We were
different neighborhoods, I
put
guess.
out on the street, and that was it. Didn't come home till the siren went off. Yeah.
Well, then you definitely were in a much more. I mean, I remember doing stupid, risky things in high school, like driving crazy with people and or in other people's cars, and at that age doing things very independently. But younger, I feel like there was always people watching us and making sure we didn't do anything. And reporting into our parents if we did something wrong.
Yeah.
But today, I don't know if that's the case.
Well, it seems like today there is a conflict between what everyone's definition of risk and appropriate behavior is, right? So, you have one parent who's like, of course my child can walk to the park by themselves. And then you have another parent who calls the police because there's an unattended child, you know? So it's, people don't agree on what is acceptable. So then it causes some big problems,
It does.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, there is no one. For your kid, it may be too much of a risk to send them to the park by themselves. For somebody else's kid, it's just fine. But you don't really know that. And, if it's okay for my kid to go there, but there's some kids there who will engage in dangerous behavior, then it is no longer safe for my kid to go there. It's complicated. Like so many things.
Yes.
But
that is true.
I just wish there was... I wish I could make my peace with it, and just say either we are going to take risks and we are going to accept the consequences and that's just the way we roll, or we're just going to play things as safe as possible, and if people judge us, that's fine.
Right.
I need to do both and then feel judged on both sides.
Well, and also it's just, you can't make it all into a black and white, because you have two different kids and you have a million different situations, and what's acceptable risk in one situation is unacceptable in another, and so you can't have like a bright line, I don't think.
Yeah. It's like I always tell my daughter about driving, that it's not enough to just drive well yourself. You have to look at how everybody else is driving and defensively get out of the way of people who are causing a problem. It's not, all of life is like that. And it's, you could advocate for your kid to have a job and it could be great, or you could advocate for your kid to have a job and there's a terrible person there who, talks them down and makes them feel terrible and hurts them or does something bad, involves them in something bad, and it doesn't mean you don't want your kid to get a job. It's like, how do you know? Right. How do you know what the right situation is, especially when they're adults? You can't go down there. When my kid was in school, I at least felt that there were adult eyes on them that I could ask, hey, is anything going on that I need to know about? But when they're working, you really can't. And it's,
we've talked about this before, hard. How you need to just hide out in the break room. Just sit in the corner. You're not a large person. You can just be in the corner with your laptop.
I'll just be over here. Don't mind
observing.
Me. Or, what is it that the people are doing who are sending cameras to school with their kids to tape what the teachers are saying? I just need to stick one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like backpack cameras and stuff.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
so I guess maybe I need to put one of those, like a little, like all those detective shows. We've talked about this before, where they have the little earpiece and they have the little camera on their lapel pin. I need that. I need to just do that for one day so I see what goes on. But then I'm going to see things that my kids do that will make me sad. And so I don't really want to. So
Right.
I know. Part of you doesn't want to know.
Exactly. That's exactly the case. But then if something bad happens, I will just be I don't know. You got to do things, but then you got to lay down in the dark room and put the rag over your eyes and just feel your feelings about it. Right. Let's move on to something happier, shall we? What's our next? I need a care package to get me through these difficult times.
To get you through all this
making
stuff.
my kids strong, as they take their strength from my agony. So give me a care package.
Yeah, so our speed round today, we're going to talk about care packages. I've been seeing, like on Facebook and other places, ideas for what to send your college kid in a care package. And I'm going to say I don't remember ever getting a care package the whole time I was in college, but okay. So if someone were to send you a mom care package right now, just to be like, hey, you're doing a good job, what would you want in it? What would you like to receive that would cheer you up and you smile like when you opened your mail? Terri?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think we can package a nap, right? We have to have things that are actually realistically...
Maybe like a pillow, like, or one of those like lavender scented eye pillows.
Or a little lap rug, or lap blanket. That might be nice. A new little blanket to put over me when I fall asleep on the couch. I would have said chocolate, but now I'm on Weight Watchers, so that's kind of a bummer. I really probably couldn't have it. That would cause all sorts of other problems. Like a box of those little Weight Watchers mini bars that they try to convince you are just as good as real candy. Somebody could send me a care package full of different Weight Watchers treats that I could feel good about eating, even though they would not really quite fill the empty space that really good dark chocolate would fill.
It's just like The Good Place, where take something you love and make it just a little bit worse.
A little bit worse so you can have more of it. That is exactly right. And I don't know, some like books, some not books that put me in an agony of whether my kids are safe or strong enough, but
stop
romances,
to that book,
lighthearted
Terri.
books, not self-help books, not philosophy books, not parenting books, but just something fun and junky.
Nice Maisie Dobbs.
A nice Maisie Dobbs. Well, that got a little. There were some little emotional things.
I thought it was like
something
a nice
just
soothing
fun
mystery.
and light. Some of it. Yeah, lots of nice British accents. That would be good. Yeah, just some light reading, I guess, and maybe some light entertainment, some iTunes cards so I could go buy music and TV shows to watch. Just things to take my mind off of other things, I guess, is what I would want in my mom care package. And things that I could eat that would, at least for the moment, provide a little comfort.
How about you, Nicole? What would cheer you up? Nothing.
Oh,
no live animals.
Well, no live animals. Please don't send me those. Definitely, if we could, I don't know, package up a nap somehow.
Yes, that seems to be, somebody needs to figure that out.
Some sleep. A plane ticket to Vancouver.
Oh,
this is not a package item. Right.
It's like winning the lottery. Ketchup chips.
Yes,
there you go.
Definitely.
That's a care package item.
Make me happy. What else would make me happy? Greek food. Somebody throw in some Greek food. This is all about food.
I think that's a good theme. That's something that college students definitely want to receive is food.
Yeah.
Yes, I think care packages that I've seen going to college students have generally been food heavy.
Yeah, I mean anything that has to do with Canadian food that I miss.
There you go. You need a Canadian food care package.
A Canadian
I bet somebody makes those.
They do.
I bet that's a thing that exists.
It is.
Y'all, if you want to make Nicole happy,
Send me a
Canadian food care packages.
Care package. Just go to CanadianFavorites.com.
Oh, there you go. She already knows
She's
the URL.
on it.
Yep. So I think great. Definitely would be two big things. Sleep and food would make me very happy.
What about coupons for a maid service? Is that a care package item?
Nope.
That would be too pricey. That would make me happy. I could lay on the couch with my blanket and Weight Watchers snacks, and somebody could clean my house.
There you go.
That would be a good stress reliever.
Yeah, I think anything goes. I mean,
We're talking big ticket care
We're
packages
talking
here. We don't want the
things
cheap
that
stuff.
fit in a shoebox that you send in the mail.
Coupons would fit in a shoebox. All right, so what would you pick, Catherine? Show us how it's done.
Well, I like the idea of treats.
Yes.
My mom and my sister make these really good ginger snap cookies.
I love ginger snaps.
Yeah.
I make good ginger snaps,
They have
too.
a good recipe. Actually, that it came from my aunt, who's like the top baker of all of us. So anything she makes, I'm down for that. And,
You now have to send me a care package of ginger snaps at some point.
I have to get some from somebody else, because if I make them, they won't be the same. Things like, lotion or shampoo, or that I wouldn't necessarily buy. Like my shampoo is the gigantic Pantene from Costco, but like whenever we have stayed in a Disney hotel, they have really nice products, and we always hoard them and bring them home, but then run out. So that I think is it's like a little bit idea. Luxurious, but not expensive, but not something you can buy for yourself. Exactly. A little bit of an indulgence. So I think I would want that.
That's nice.
And what else? Like maybe, little earrings, or a fun little scarf, or something to wear, like a little accessory. I don't think like clothes count for a care package. They're too big.
No.
But maybe something that's an accessory.
T-shirt.
Yeah, maybe a t-shirt. Mm-hmm.
A good place t-shirt that says, "What the fork" on the front.
Everything is fine.
Yes. That's what we need.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of what else, like candy. I said treats already.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. And maybe it might depend on who is sending it and where they're sending it from.
That's true.
Like for Nicole's, if it came from Canada, then obviously it would have lots of good Canadian stuff in it.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I think Nicole needs to send us a care package full of ketchup chips so that we can
try them,
see what they're like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my friend found them at a Meijer store here in Wisconsin, so we need to. And it wasn't that the brand Lay's? Isn't that the one that you prefer?
No, I like the Old Dutch, which is a Canadian company, but I think the Lay's are the ones that make them here in America.
Okay.
The Lay's,
so they're a reasonable facsimile.
Yes. Okay. Yes, they will pass. They're not the true, OG ketchup chips. But yeah, they're definitely. If I would not pass them up if I was in a grocery store and saw them.
Okay.
The Lay's ketchup chips, I would definitely, grab them. So.
Well, I'll have to go to that store and give them a try. And report back.
Yeah.
So, I think we're ready for your care packages to come our way.
That's right, listeners. You know what we like now.
So that'll be it for our speed round for today, and you can hear a new one every Wednesday through Friday.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Parenting Roundabout. We're not one of those podcasts that's trying to sell you websites or mattresses or meal kits. I mean, we totally would, but no one's asked us yet.
There is, however, something you can do that costs you nothing, but will put a little change in our pockets. Listen to our podcast on the Radio Public app. Download the app to your iPhone or Android device and listen to Parenting Roundabout there, and we'll get paid for each listen. plus a little more if you listen a lot.
We think you'll enjoy listening to all your podcasts on this app, but if you could at least listen to Parenting Roundabout there, we'd be very grateful. Now, back to the episode.
Great, and now we bring you some of the things that we've read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. I'll jump in and go first. I'll talk about how I've cleaned up my laptop computer and my desktop computer, which I actually had to dust off because I haven't used it in so long. They're both Macs, and I used a program that it was one of those software programs that clean up the storage in your on your Mac and kind of boost its operating speed and kind of just cleans up the clutter. And so it was one of the better reviewed ones, and it was called CleanMyMac, and it's the third version. And I have to say, I was impressed. I've tried to do it myself and have failed on several occasions. Because if you have a Mac, you'll often get this little notice that says, your storage disk is almost full, and then you quickly try and delete files that you feel.
No, that's the point at which you just go and get a new computer with a bigger.
Right.
With more storage.
Well, if it's late at night and you're desperate
that's true
to clean things up. So, and of course I've mistakenly deleted files that I shouldn't have. And so anyway, I thought I'm going to try this. I never had before tried any kind of a automatic kind of program that does it for you. So anyway, I downloaded it. I had to pay a little bit of money for it. I have to, admit that, but downloaded it, and it kind of scanned all my files and all the different things that are on my computer and got rid of a lot of junk, and it's definitely operating a lot quicker. And then my desktop computer, which is also a Mac, and I haven't actually used in a couple of years, so it really needed updating. And my daughter had dumped a whole bunch of stuff onto it that took up a lot of space, and so that that needed a lot of work. And it definitely improved its operating ability. So
nice.
If you need something to clean up your Mac, CleanMyMac 3 is what I used.
Okay,
Terri, how about you?
I'm going to put in a little pitch for the next thing that we're watching on round 2, Catherine and I. We've just gotten through a season of So You Think You Can Dance and a season of Making It. And I was enjoying going down the rabbit hole of following the Making It makers on Instagram. And I am still enjoying that. It's very fun. We have you can find it on one of our posts from round 2. We have a list of all of them. So if you were watching Making It and want to get all sorts of backstage scoop and follow all those people who are still doing very cool things, you can do that. But we are now turning our attention to Dancing with the Stars, which is starting a new season on the 24th. Catherine and I will be watching it and talking about it on round 2. And so now I am pulling myself out of the Making It rabbit hole and going down the new Dancing with the Stars pairings rabbit hole of an incredible number of videos that they've put out of them all doing cute things together. And I know over the next 2 weeks, there will just be an unending flood of stuff to get us all into the new season, and I am opening my arms to it and saying, distract me, please distract me. So looking forward to all that fun pre-show stuff and figuring out who my rooting interest will be, and having an actual full season.
That's right.
After the bad idea of the tiny, brief all-athletes season. Goodbye to that. It'll be nice to have our usual supply of old actors that you remember fondly from younger days, and athletes old and young, and Disney Channel people you've never heard of, but hey, they look cute, and Bachelor wannabes, and Instagram people that you've never heard of, and It looks like I've heard a lot of people saying it was an underwhelming group, but I see a number of people there I will be interested to see dance. So, or not, as the case may be. So, anyway, new season of Dancing with the Stars. Yay!
And how about you, Catherine? What have you got for us?
I am right now, as we speak, drinking Downton Abbey English Rose tea.
Are you?
From the Republic of Tea. And it's quite good. It's very pink and it's tasty. So I've been making tea to use for iced tea. Instead of drinking the bottles that I used to always drink. I'm cutting back on the bottles. It's very difficult for me. But anyway, this is proving to be a pretty nice substitute. So it's English Rose flavor. And they have like a whole line of Downton Abbey branded tea.
Does it come with a cute little maid to serve it to to
No.
Here's your tea, miss.
Yeah. No, it does not.
That's a marketing failure there.
Right.
They got to work on that.
Yes. So I'm drinking that and I will recommend it. And now for our final segment, we are going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. I'll start and I will give you the last 3-part series I did over at Highlights with Catherine Reynolds Lewis, the author and friend of the podcast, based on her book. And this one is called What Not to Say to a Wound Up Kid. So lots of good advice there. And that's at highlights.com. How about you, Terri? What do you have for us?
Yeah, I have kind of a weird... I will still probably be putting another post on my blog. I'm going to still try to keep doing that. But I signed up for something that I have no idea if it's even a thing or whether it's going to be worthwhile or how it works or what I'm getting paid with or whatever. But I will mention it if anybody else has heard of it and wants to try it out. Let's see together what the heck this thing is. There's a new app called WhenHub. And there's something that they have on that called Interface, which is you can either sign up as an expert and set your price and agree to talk to people who want to take some of your expertise, or you can go on there looking for an expert in a topic that you're interested in, and you pay them for a minimum of 15 minutes. You get a 1-minute conversation at the beginning to make sure that you want to continue, and then you get charged in 15-minute increments. So I have put myself on there as an expert, although I hate to say expert because that's asking for trouble, but as somebody who will talk to people about parenting special needs. If you want some advice or you want some information or you just have nobody in your life to talk to who understands it, you can go on there theoretically and video chat with me for 15 minutes or longer, I guess, but I would say 15 minutes should be enough. And theoretically, I will then get paid for that time. Either the main payment thing there is a cryptocurrency, which I do not understand. So it's possible we're just going to be exchanging, sand dollars or something. I'm not sure how this works, what I do with the cryptocurrency, but you can also use cash if you want. I think they've set it up for that as well. I'm not sure how, if you find me on there and you contact me, if it rings my phone or if I'm not on right then, you get a no. I have no idea how this works, but I thought, you know what? I wouldn't mind talking to people, and I could probably give them, a few dollars worth of advice. For the cost of an expensive, overpriced coffee drink at Starbucks, you can talk to me for 15 minutes. That could be fun.
That's cool.
So, you can download the WhenHub app and then go search for experts. I think if you search parenting or you search my name, I think I will come up. I don't think there's anybody else there who's doing parenting at the moment or special needs. So you should be able to find me pretty well if you want to take a chance on it. I think that if you sign up, you get some free coins, crypto coins. So you may be able to talk to me for a short while for no outlay. I'm not I have no idea how it works. So if you want to give it a try, we'll find out together. We'll have some links in the show notes. There's a link that I think if you go through that, you will get some free money up front and I will get some free money up front. So try that link. Otherwise, just try downloading the app and play with it. There's no risk in playing with it. And I don't think that you're forced to choose an expert if you don't want to. Play around. Let me know if you've tried it. Let me know on Twitter if you see me on there. And it seems like a thing.
Wow.
That
How
could
did
be
you
interesting.
find out about this?
It's one of the main guys behind it is Scott Adams, who draws Dilbert. And I've followed him on Twitter at various times, and he's mentioned it. So I checked it out, and it looks kind of interesting. Like it could be a thing, or like it could not be a thing at all.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm an old lady, like going into a room full of kids and going, "What are we doing here? I could do this. Maybe I could. What are these coins you're exchanging? Is that real? Is that real money? Okay, I'll try." So
I'm downloading it right now.
My it's not shameless self-promotion exactly. It's theoretical self-promotion or self-doubtful self-promotion, but hey, let's try this. You know what? You can sign on as an expert for anything. They were saying that if you are somewhere near the hurricane and you can safely point your phone at it, put yourself on this interface app, and maybe news organizations will find you and pay you a little bit for what you filmed on your phone. So they're opening it up to the maximum number of possible uses. You don't have to have a specific, expert type thing. You can just if you have something on there that you're interested to talk to people about,
there you go.
Try it out. Worst thing that happens is nothing happens, and then you're out nothing. That would be good, Nicole. You could put yourself on there as an inclusion expert. People might want to talk to you and pay you in fake money.
Fake money.
It's a real thing. I just don't know what you do with it because I'm elderly and it's newfangled.
Elderly.
But,
Wow.
Who knows? It could be a thing.
Yeah. That sounds cool. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. And you just, say what you're an expert in. I think you have to log in through LinkedIn right now to be an expert. But then you can change your picture, you can change your description, you can change what you're an expert in, you can set your fee, you can set how many stars you want to rate yourself as. It's all on personal recognizance.
I give myself 1 star.
And my topic is self-esteem.
Right.
This is how we could monetize our worrying. We could say, I will talk to you about your worries for 15 minutes.
Yes, I will listen to you.
I will listen to you talk about the things you're worried about, and I will make sympathetic noises that your husband will not make when you say these things to him because he's busy watching baseball.
Perfect.
Dump them on me.
And I
might change my expertise actually to that.
There's no experts in my area.
No, I don't think, I'm getting the feeling that there are not that many experts signed on right now.
Right.
Because I searched a bunch of topics that came out nothing. And I heard him talking about it today, and he mentioned parenting special needs.
Oh.
So if he's mentioning me, then there are not many people on there.
Well, you're getting in on the ground floor then.
I'm getting on the ground floor of something that might be something or might not be anything. If I'm on the ground floor of it, it's probably not going to be anything. But at any rate, check it out and let me know what you think.
Right.
Okay, well.
And what do you have, Nicole?
There you go. So Nicole now wants to shamelessly self-promote herself on WhenHub. Yeah. Go look her up. She'll talk to you about inclusion.
You know what? It sounds very interesting. I'm checking it out. But I'm actually going to talk about, I think the last week I talked about a conference I was doing. Was that last week?
Yeah, I think so.
Before. Yeah. So keeping in a similar theme of speaking opportunities or speaking appearances seems to be what I'm doing more of these days. So that I have another conference coming up. If you're in the Kansas City area in February and you want to learn about inclusion, I will be speaking for the Fire Foundation, who is concerned with inclusion in Catholic schools in particular. And I will be there from February 18th to 20th. And I think I'm speaking on the 19th and 20th. Maybe not the 18th. But anyway, the conference.
That's a good topic.
There's a conference at, I believe it's at the Courtyard, Kansas City at Briarcliff. And you can find out more information about the conference at firefoundation.org and find out what I'll be speaking about.
Nice.
Will be inclusion.
All right, thanks.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on Radio Public or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts.
You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Nicole Erdix, Catherine is at CHaleko, and Terri is at Momitude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too.
Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on everything we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music. And I wish everyone a great week.